Words hold an undeniable power to inspire, transform, and reshape the course of history. While we often take written communication for granted, the weight of a single letter has, on occasion, altered the fate of nations and individuals. History is brimming with instances where one document, one carefully crafted message, carried the potential to unify, divide, or ignite movements. One such compelling example is the famed letter from Birmingham Jail, penned by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a missive that not only became a cornerstone of the civil rights movement, but also demonstrated the extraordinary power of words to effect change. A historical context: the civil rights movement. The 1960s were a turbulent time in the United States. Racial segregation was institutionalized in the South through laws and cultural norms that relegated Black Americans to second-class citizenship. Amid this environment of systemic racism, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. emerged as a leader of unparalleled influence, advocating for justice and equality through nonviolent resistance. In 1963, Birmingham, Alabama, became a battleground for civil rights protests. Known for its harsh enforcement of segregation and racial inequality, Birmingham was led by Eugene Bull Connor, a man infamous for his brutal tactics against demonstrators. Dr. King and the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, SCLC, organized protests to draw national attention to the city's injustices. On April 12, 1963, Dr. King was arrested for leading a nonviolent protest without a permit. While confined in a jail cell, he received criticism from a group of white clergymen who had published a letter condemning the demonstrations, calling them unwise and untimely. Rather than react with anger or despair, Dr. King responded with one of the most profound documents in American history, his letter from Birmingham Jail. The birth of the letter. Written on scraps of paper smuggled in by his lawyers and supporters, the letter was crafted with meticulous care. In it, Dr. King addressed not only the clergyman's accusations, but also articulated the moral urgency of the civil rights movement. His words appealed to logic, justice, and humanity, blending theology, philosophy, and history into a compelling argument for social change. One of the letter's most famous passages reads, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly." This statement underscored the interconnectedness of humanity and the need for collective responsibility in addressing inequality. Dr. King's ability to frame the fight for civil rights as a universal struggle resonated far beyond the immediate audience of the letter. The power of persuasion and logic. The letter from Birmingham Jail was not merely a response to critics. It was a masterclass in persuasion. Dr. King used the opportunity to justify civil disobedience, explaining the distinction between just and unjust laws. He invoked historical and religious figures, such as Socrates and Jesus Christ, to illustrate the moral imperative of breaking laws that perpetuate injustice. He wrote, "One has not only a legal but a moral responsibility to obey just laws. Conversely, one has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws." Dr. King's words illuminated the hypocrisy of those who valued order over justice, forcing even his detractors to grapple with uncomfortable truths. His tone, firm yet respectful, allowed the letter to transcend its immediate context and speak to a universal audience. Impact beyond the jail cell. Initially circulated among civil rights groups, the letter soon gained widespread attention after being published in newspapers and magazines. It became a rallying cry for activists and a cornerstone of the civil rights movement. The eloquence and moral clarity of Dr. King's words shifted public opinion, mobilized support, and added momentum to the fight against racial injustice. The letter's influence extended beyond the United States, inspiring movements for social justice worldwide. Leaders of anti-apartheid campaigns in South Africa, for instance, drew parallels between their struggle and the American civil rights movement. Dr. King's letter became a beacon of hope for oppressed people everywhere, demonstrating that words have the power to transcend barriers and ignite global change. Other letters that changed history. Dr. King's letter is not the only instance where a written message altered the course of events. History offers other examples of how words have wielded immense influence. 1. The Balfour Declaration, 1917. The Balfour Declaration, a 67-word letter from British Foreign Secretary Arthur Balfour to Lord Rothschild, expressed support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. Though brief, the letter set in motion a series of events that led to the creation of the modern state of Israel. It remains a controversial document, reflecting the profound and lasting impact that a single message can have on geopolitics. 2. Emmeline Pankhurst's letters to Parliament. As a leader of the suffragette movement in the early 20th century, Emmeline Pankhurst wrote letters to British lawmakers demanding women's right to vote. Her writings, combined with public demonstrations, were instrumental in changing societal attitudes and securing voting rights for women in the UK. 3. Abraham Lincoln's letter to Mrs. Bixby. During the American Civil War, President Abraham Lincoln penned a heartfelt letter to Lydia Bixby, a mother who reportedly lost 5 sons in the war. While later investigations questioned the accuracy of her loss, the letter's profound empathy and eloquence cemented Lincoln's reputation as a leader of compassion and moral resolve. Lessons for today. In an era dominated by instant communication and social media, the letter from Birmingham Jail reminds us of the enduring power of thoughtful, well-crafted words. Unlike fleeting tweets or sound bites, Dr. King's letter was deliberate, reflective, and rooted in universal principles. It teaches us the value of using words responsibly to address injustice and inspire action. Moreover, the letter challenges us to reflect on our role in creating a just society. Are we silent bystanders, or do we take a stand, however uncomfortable, when confronted with inequality? Dr. King's words remind us that change begins with the courage to speak truth to power. Conclusion. The letter from Birmingham Jail exemplifies how one document, born out of adversity, can change history. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s eloquent defense of justice and equality transcended its immediate context, resonating across generations and continents. It stands as a testament to the power of words to shape minds, challenge systems, and transform societies. Whether it's a handwritten note, an official declaration, or a heartfelt plea, the written word remains one of humanity's most potent tools for change. As history has shown us, the right words, delivered at the right time, can truly change the world forever.